Alrighty then. So today we're joined by the incredibly talented Natalie Lynch, who is just, obviously we go and stalk people before we talk to them, and I've been all over her Facebook page, and she is so amazing with art. And she's here to talk to us today about art therapy, being creative, and how we can use art to help heal from loss and to improve mental health and wellness. Natalie, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That's quite all right. I love talking to creative people because I try to be creative, and I know that sometimes you just need someone to guide you a little bit to help you draw out that. Do you think that we have all got that creative essence in us, or it's just bestowed on some very lucky few?
Well, actually, that's what all you have to do really is look at children. And when you look at children and how they are so willing to play with paint and create pictures and do whatever construction materials with, they just love and embrace all of those art materials. And we all started that way. I'm sure when I was a toddler, I was doing that, but I'm sure a very non-arty adult was probably doing that as a toddler as well. So we do have it there. We're all naturally got an ability to express ourselves creatively. It's just that over the years we get shut down, and we gradually in our own head either protect ourselves by saying, oh, somebody didn't like my drawing, so I better not draw anymore. Or they got a comment from someone that they, even if it was a positive comment, they might have taken it the wrong way, and gradually to protect themselves they stop doing it, because art is a very visual thing and people can see your results. And so the minute you start art, you kind of feel like someone's going to judge this when they look at it. So yeah, we all have it. It's not a God-given talent that some people get and some people miss out on. Some people, of course, do take to it really easily and have an amazing ability to see the way an artist sees and put that down into their artwork. But of course, everyone can learn it. Everyone has got something there.
I suppose it's a little bit like, when you show someone something you've made, like standing naked on a stage, because art is a very vulnerable thing, isn't it? Because it's coming from inside of you.
It is, yeah. It's and also I think you're your own worst critic. So even if someone looks at your artwork and says, wow, that's amazing, I really like that, you'll still look at it. A lot of people anyway, I do, still look at it and think, oh yeah, but I could have done that bit better, or I don't really like that, or I'm not sure if, and even if everybody else loves your artwork, if you don't love it, you're probably not going to believe them anyway, and you're probably not going to feel comfortable with it anyway. So it's all about your own mindset, really. You make art for yourself, and then other people who like it will find it. But if they don't, doesn't matter, because you're making it for yourself.
I was going to ask you, how do you get through those feelings? Because like I've got a few friends who are incredible artists, and they're reluctant to share what they've done with other people for fear of judgment, or fear of, that people are going to look at and go, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, well, I suppose it comes down to just keeping it to yourself. Keeping your artwork private is perfectly fine. I actually think it would be amazing if somebody produced so much art but never ever showed it to their family, and it was only after they were gone that their family realised that they were a closet artist. Who cares? So long as you're actually doing it and enjoying it, it really doesn't matter if you show it off to people. It's a bit like singing in the shower or singing in the car. Just enjoy it and use it for the therapeutic benefits, and then gradually, in time, you may feel like, you know what, I don't care what other people are going to think. I'm going to put it out there and see what happens. But until you feel confident about your own skills and your own ability to put it out there, then don't. just keep it to yourself, and you're still going to enjoy the benefits of it.
I like that. That's nice. So there you go, everyone. If you don't want to show it, you don't have to. You're
Yeah,
free
that's for
to
sure.
go with that. Now, how did you get involved in art? What was, because you were saying, as a young person, you probably, like all kids, drew and made shapes and built things. And when did you decide, this is something that I want to do and help others learn how to do?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I loved art all the time when I was a child. Um, and I came from a family who, well, both my parents are teachers. So we used to have lots of holidays and long holidays at the beach. But my parents were, and my sister were bookworms. I hated reading. So to keep me busy while they were reading and relaxing on holidays, I was given lots of paper and pencils and I would draw instead. So, I love drawing and kept me occupied. But I think it really happened when I started high school. I can't even really remember an art lesson at primary school. But high school, I ended up being blessed with two very good art teachers during my years. And they were so inspiring, and I just loved art at high school. So I decided I'm going to be an art teacher like my art teacher, and went to college and learned how to become a high school art teacher. So, and I think teaching was only because it's a safe way to still do art and earn an income, because you can't earn an income any other way with art. So, coming from a family of teachers, that was a nice, safe option to have a stable career, but also in a subject area that I loved. But as far as the therapeutic side of art goes, that came about much later, after a career of teaching in high schools, and then later I taught. I actually taught for nearly 20 years in a primary school, in an independent private school. I was their art specialist. So the students in the primary school would come to me, have their art class, and then go back to their classroom teacher. And I did that for many, many years and loved it. But then in 2009, my whole life was torn apart because my husband lost his battle with depression. And we were almost married for 23 years, I think it was. We'd been together for nearly 30 years, and all of a sudden I found myself a widow. So that changed every aspect of my life. I suppose the only constant was that I still was teaching, still went back to work and was teaching during that the years after that. But then it gradually became very clear to me that adults need to have a creative outlet. And I know how to teach beginners because I've been teaching primary school children and for so long, that I can help adults start right from the beginning, learn the basics, and then use what I've also learned in my life experience to fuse in the art therapy side of it as well. So they can then have a really safe way to express their feelings, explore anything, or escape from whatever's happening through their art. So the idea for Studio Yellow was born. And I launched it in December 2016, which actually happened to be my 30th wedding anniversary, on the day that I had a party and launched this business. And it's gone from there. So, yeah, it's all about mixing art skills with the therapeutic benefits and the mindset that you need to use art to actually make you feel better. There's my phone.
Oh, we're really busy right now. Call back.
Yes, go away.
So really, a deeply traumatic event in your life gave you momentum to go, okay, how can I make a difference in the world beyond?
Absolutely, yeah.
Kids
I hope now that I'm teaching the kind of art lessons that my husband needed. He was working very long hours. He was self-employed, so he was very isolated from, well, he had one employee that was working with him remotely, like we're all trying to do now. They were doing that 10 years ago. But he was a perfectionist. He was sleep deprived. All of these things were going in his life that led to what I didn't see the symptoms at the time, but it all led up to this event. And you can, in hindsight, you can see how his world started to fall apart, including the world financial crisis at the end of 2008. So all of that was a way that his life imploded. It was all too much for him and he lost hope. Now, we all need a way to express what we're thinking and what we're feeling, but we don't always want to share that with others. And I know he was a very creative person. I know he loved art. He was actually accepted into art college when he was at high school, but didn't take that road because he was advised by his parents to find a job that earned money instead of an art career that probably wouldn't earn money. So he didn't follow his art, and it really is something that I think would have been so helpful for him during his life if he had had a creative outlet. He was very physically fit. He was a black belt in karate, so he looked after himself. He looked after everybody else, but he didn't have a way of expressing his thoughts and feelings and just having fun and playing, which is what we all need to do to get through life. And he often said to me, why aren't you having a midlife crisis? And I was like, well, I have regular holidays. I have an outlet. I do my art. I do all these things that he wasn't doing. So I now try and make my art classes a way to teach people the skills so that you end up with making things that you like to look at, but also that mindset side of it, that there are ways to solve problems when you come across it. You need to stick with it long enough and not just go, oh, that didn't work, throw it out. So all of those sorts of things I can guide people through so that they then start to have the confidence to do it every day, do it when they need to feel they're escaping from something, to get their mind on something else, or do it when they just feel like relaxing and having fun.
I guess, you're an entrepreneur. I work in my own business. I mean, the growth of entrepreneurs in this country alone has skyrocketed over the last 5 years. You only need to go and look at the Australian Bureau of Statistics, particularly for women in business. More and more of us, particularly in our late 30s, 40s and 50s, are starting businesses. And we do get kind of caught in our own heads, don't we? I know that I do. It's kind of like, I've got to get this done. And then it becomes your world. So effectively what you're doing is helping to give people a moment to pause and to express themselves in another way, saving lives.
Well, if I could save even one life, it would be worth all the work I've put into building this business. But it is a way to redirect your thoughts, because I'm the same, running a small business, and especially now when I don't even have an income at the moment because all my classes were face-to-face, it gets in your head and you can't think of anything else. So, and when I was grieving, the minute I woke up, if I had been asleep, my mind was just racing again with all these thoughts and feelings and what could I have said, should I have done, all of these things. Now, it doesn't matter what trauma it is, everybody needs to have a time where their brain stops thinking about the stresses that they have in their life and start thinking about something else. So people used to say to me after my husband died, oh, you need to really look after yourself now and, go and have a massage or whatever, or have a hot bath, all these nice things that you would do when you're relaxed. But for me, even going for a walk with the dog, I'd be crying while I'm walking because I still had my head with me and I was still thinking about all the things that I was worried about and anxious about. So, but when I did my art, it gave me a break from that, because then I was only thinking about, well, sometimes the thoughts would sneak in, but mostly you're thinking about, oh, do I need to wash my brush now? Oh, that color didn't work. And do I need to wipe more paint off the brush, or do I need to mix a new color? And so you start to get completely focused in on those little decisions that you're making about your art, your colour, which pencil to pick up next, what colour to use. Even if you're using a colouring in book, you are still just focusing in on staying in the lines. What colour should I use next? All of those things. And just for that moment, if it's 10 minutes or it's 2 hours, you're giving your brain a rest from all the worries. And it is so relaxing and so therapeutic that at the end of it, you actually feel so much better, more in control, and ready to face the world, because your brain had that rest for a while doing something different.
And we need a rest, don't we? I mean, like we live in a world where, you know, one of the prior to us all being locked down, catch cry was, you got to hustle, you've got to get out there. And, you know, you only need to go into many Facebook business groups and see posts from people talking about, oh, I'm not going to stop over the holidays. I'm going to keep working like it's a badge of honor. But that badge of honor can kill us, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I really believe that part of the reason my husband decided to do what he did, although I use the word decided, but I really do believe that it isn't a decision. If you get to the point where you are willing to take your own life, it's not actually a decision. It's just a cry. It's just
A reaction.
only a reaction. It's just the only way out at that moment. I really believe that he was exhausted. So the thought of therapeutically healing through that process with a psychologist or anything, or through art therapy, and he did start some art classes a few months before he passed away. He was exhausted. So he didn't have the energy to look long term and go, oh yeah, with a bit more support and a bit of a strategy, I'll get through this. He was totally exhausted, and he was exhausted because he'd been running his own business for 10 years. He was trying to support his family in the best way he possibly could. He was trying to make sure that every job went out on time to the best standard it could possibly be. And that perfectionism and workaholic attitude, it's no good for anyone. So yeah, we all have to take stock and say, you know, what is really important in life? And I must admit, with an event like that happening in your life, it certainly makes you look at life differently. Yeah, to see someone getting all upset over some trivial event, or, you know, you think life's too short. You need to do what makes you feel good right now. And, put yourself first, because like they say, if you're in an aeroplane, if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, how can you be helpful to anybody else? So you've got to nurture yourself, and then you'll be a better wife, a better mother, a better partner, a better person living on your own. I mean, I can live on my own now, after years of never ever having a moment to myself, because my husband worked from home and I drove the kids to work, to school on the way to my work. I never was alone. Now I'm alone for hours, but it's okay, because I'm okay inside. You know, I'm at peace.
You've worked through that. And often you hear people, when you know, particularly women, when they're going, you know, I just want some time to myself, you get those doomsayers going, oh, that's just selfish. But what you're saying is that it's okay to put yourself first.
Yeah. And there's a little saying like that: selfish is not the same as self-care. And I think a lot of women need to hear that. It's not selfish to say, I need some time out, or this is mummy's art room and mummy's art materials, and you're not allowed to take them. You're not allowed to use them because you have your own supplies. Although saying that, kids love it when you sit beside them and work beside, you know, on your work while they're sitting there working on their artwork. It can be a really good way to role model to your children that being creative is okay. Even if you make a mess, even if you throw the piece of paper out at the end, it's still a good thing to do.
Still a good thing to do. Well, I just, we're in the middle of, you know, like there's so many cliche words, unprecedented times, you know, this is not normal. And we've all been given an opportunity to pause and to, you know, many of us have either lost our jobs or lost our businesses, or, you know, like life is completely different. Do you think in a way that it's almost a blessing in disguise?
I think for many people, it is going to help them realize that we were all going too fast. And now we need to go, you know what? Why were we doing that? I mean, one of the reasons I got so frustrated with working in schools was because I used the word busy 100 times a day. No, not busy. Hurry up was the word I used, because I had students coming to my classroom for a lesson and then going back to their own room. So it was hurry up and come inside, hurry up and sit down, hurry up and put your art aprons on, hurry up and tidy up, hurry up and get back outside and line up, and hurry up and get to your next class. And I used to hate that, because it was so, you know, how can you be creative when you're pushing kids to be fast? You know, you've got an hour to teach them an art lesson, or 50 minutes to teach them an art lesson from way to go, and hand everything out and collect everything in, tidy them up and make sure they don't get messy because they're wearing expensive uniforms, and then send them on their way. And I used to think, as a mother, they would learn it. They were hearing that from the moment they woke up this morning. They were, hurry up and get out of bed, hurry up and eat your breakfast, hurry up and get in the car, hurry up and I just felt like the whole world's gone crazy. And so I think this is a good moment for us all to realize that it's just time now to reconnect with your families, reconnect with yourself. Even if you're on your own, learn how to get along with yourself. A lot of people, including my husband, I'm sure, stay so busy so that they can avoid thinking about things that they really need to think about. And, you know, if I just spend a little bit longer on this, if I work harder, then my family will love me because I'm making more money and I'm doing the right thing by them. And then I'll be working so hard I don't have to think about how unhappy I am. So, you know, it's an excuse all the time that if I'm busy and I'm seen to be helping other people and I'm always getting my work done properly and on time and doing this and doing that, then I'm a good person and I'm going to be, everybody's going to love me, and I'm getting all this external feedback that I'm a good person, when really it's just avoiding the real thing, which is, am I the person I want to be? Am I happy with my life? Am I doing what I want to do? Am I making a difference in the world the way I want to make a difference in the world? So a lot of people, I think, avoid thinking about all those deeper, meaningful things, and they avoid it by just keeping busy doing all the other stuff. You know, having a perfectly tidy house, or you know, whatever it is that they focus on, when really you need to look inside. And art has a way of doing that. You do find out, you know, things about yourself without really even realizing it.
It's kind of like, oh, what? I know that I was sitting there on the weekend thinking, I don't have a lot of work to do at the moment, and I'm one of those people just kind of like, go, 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 go. And I ordered 4 art kits online, and I'm going to make some candles.
Yes.
I'm going to make some soap. I'm going to make some ceramic plates, and I bought a mandala rock kit.
Ah, excellent. Very good.
I find some rocks and do pretty pictures on. I'll make sure I share it into the group so you can see my creativity.
Well, I'm hoping that out of all of this, people realise just how important it is to have a hobby. Having something that you can do that you're passionate about, whether it's art or not, doesn't really matter. So long as you've got a hobby that is so different from what you do for your work, that it is actually an escape. And, you know, and a hobby isn't watching TV. And I really found, when I was in the most traumatic stages of before and after my husband passed away, I couldn't watch TV. Everything on TV was about relationships, was about all kinds of things that, you know, either it was happy scenes where I'm thinking, but that's not going to be my life now, because my life's been, you know, my happy family's been destroyed, or it was about death and murder, and I think, oh, I don't want to watch that either. So TV was completely out of the question for me when I was that traumatized. And I'm sure, and it even now triggers me. There's so many things that happen in a movie or a mini series that you watch where you just think, I don't want to see that. I don't want to, that just reminds me of everything I've been through. And so I find it's just so much better. I mean, I do watch TV, of course, but I just find it so much more relaxing to actually just spend time in the studio and create things. And some of them I share and I put on Facebook and go, look, you could do this too, or see what I've been up to today. A lot of it I don't share either because it's just for me.
Just for you. So I guess at the end of the day, your message is really quite simple, that our number one priority is our mental health and making sure that we invest in our own care.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
And that we can do that by getting creative and getting paint on ourselves or digging our fingers into clay or whatever medium it is that makes people happy.
Absolutely. Living a creative life is a really good way to just, I mean, we're creative species, aren't we? Look what we've made in this world. And look how now, when the world's in crisis, how creative everybody has to be in thinking up ways to pivot their business or keep themselves occupied while they're stuck in a house. Or for those poor people who are stuck in motel rooms for 2 weeks, I mean, that would be really hard. But the number one skill we all need is creativity. We're going to need to be creative when we come out of this at the other end too. How can we re-emerge from all of this? So creativity is the most important skill that we've always needed in the world. And people go, yeah, but art can't fix everything. But when you're doing art, you're actually practicing in a very safe way how to solve problems, how to try it a different way, how to see if there's, a different combination that might work. All of those sorts of skills transfer exactly into any other aspect of your life. And so, yeah, creativity is definitely a skill we all need. And so why not, if you're going to do it with an art lesson?
Natalie Lynch, thank you so much for sharing a deeply personal story. I really appreciate it, and some ideas on how we can all get out of our own head and have a bit of a play. So it's Studio Yellow, your art studio.
Yes, Studio Yellow. I'm located in Brisbane, in Manly West. I do mobile workshops and corporate workshops for businesses as well. So, face-to-face classes can be in your location or in my studio. And who knows how far the business will go from here, but it's been an amazing journey learning after being a salary earner for so long. To suddenly own my own business and run it, start it up from scratch has been a huge learning curve. But as I said earlier, if I can save one person's life or help one person find a little bit more joy and beauty in the world, then it's all worth it. And it's been my saviour. So whatever trauma you go through, or even if you're not going through trauma, let's prevent it. Let's not go through some sort of crisis in our own lives mentally, if we can prevent it by starting early with a plan, have some strategies in place right from the beginning. That, if you loved art as a child and you for some reason haven't kept it going, why wait till you're in a crisis to start? Just start getting creative now, and you might just find it's a godsend as you travel through your life.
Absolutely. Maybe we can do an obsessed with art gallery or art exhibit of all of the creative things that people have been doing over the last few weeks. Well, thank you so much for your time, Natalie. It's been awesome talking to you.
Thank you very much.